Yes, hi. So you received this bag, and first of all, you like to study what's in it. So the first one is a binder. Binder, you will see some guide of how the window treatment, because it's one of the biggest thing that people needed when we called a lot of customers. So that all the details that I'm not going to go through it here, but you look at that and then ask questions to Philip so you fully understand what we are capable. And then the second one is basically this is pricing, a price list. All the things we keep in stock in the linens, that what we call is OSNE items or white items that we go through everything. So here, it's somebody wants the linens, towels, or anything else. There are some in stock, and then some we can do custom. The custom ones that we will have a custom pricing, but that's where you can see. Next one is the layers of a luxury that we categorize as 3 different layers. This is called the ultimate layers, and then you could see all the things that's going in the book, in your bed. And then here is every items that customer can order, and then specification is all in there. These can be electronically downloaded, so Philip will go through all the details later. And then you have a second one is a luxury, we call that. Some examples of what we have done and how many layers in here. And then if somebody wants a budget, that's exactly what you can do with all the specification, what is twin, double, queen, and king, what would be as their budget. And then you got, again, details of it. Then you got third one is called affordable luxury, which means that, you got layers, much less layers, as well as pricing will be a lot less. So then one of the most important things that we have gone through is everybody is looking for new ways of a bed skirt. So these are some of different ways. This is with a banding, or this is 2 zippers. So what the purpose of this is, first of all, a housekeeper doesn't have to take off all the bed skirt and lifting the mattress up. But more important thing is many hotels have bought their mattresses or box spring covers in a different time. So the height is different. So this one you can actually adjust on the zipper, or either upper zipper or down zipper, to make it right. So those are the kind of things, and this is tightly done. And this is, we finished a lot of Caesar's job right now, and then this is quilted. So there's a lot of different ways we can make the box spring look very clear and clean and nice. And then you got some of the ropes and the shower curtains that you see here. And again, your price guide, it is all here. These are also only a guide. It's not something that you can buy from a catalog. The first page, all the linens, that's your natural comfort, you can buy it through a catalog. It's exact price you can sell, but these layers of a luxury is basically what you choose and what you will be, and it's just the guidelines. And then you got mattresses. We have basically 6 mattresses as a standard, but we can build anybody's mattresses specs you give us. And one of the reasons that we are offering mattresses because we can offer same quality with these big SS companies, and we do not do 30% of our revenues in marketing. So we can sell your mattresses in a much better quality as well as a value at the end. So you have a different specification, and you got also pricing right here. So it'll be very easy to do. And so, and then the box frames or different type of frames, and you got the regular frames here. So all that is in the book. In the fabric pricing, you are going to get it, but it cannot fit in here because there's 66 pages. So Philip is going to just put it, and then as a separate fabric price that's going to come into that. So that's really explaining your binder really well.
During Koni's presentation, where she teaches you how to present the samples to the designers, she's going to mention that you might want to separate the fabrics between drapery, bedding, etc. So I just want to clarify that a little bit. Each one of the fabrics is going to be within a different bag with a label on it. And so there's a label called drapery on one bag. Obviously that's the drapery section. There's another bag called matelassé vinyl linen. Those are just bedding items. then everything else in your bag is multi-purpose. And they could be used for bedding, they could be used for drapery, they could be used for a scarf, they could be used for a bed skirt, etc. So that's just the 3 different categories that you have in your bag: drapery, bedding, and multi-purpose.
So if you look at in the bag, it's all labeled. However, it is most important that you want to ask questions, which items that our customers will be interested. If somebody said, oh, I do not deal with the OSNE, no white items, no sense of bringing all these white items and then explaining what we do. However, even on the designers, that they do, now we do a lot of embroidered, custom or jacquard for linens. So as an example, if you see some of these, those are like embroidered. And then you can also see the quality of the linen, that you'll see that. And there are some of your basic ones that you'll have samples of. So you want to find out, some designers we do a lot of AC collections and intercontinentals and a lot of different brands that the designer get involved. They can choose the embroidered things. And then there's a matelager. It's the top of the bed. So it's already wrinkled. It takes 5 minutes to dry. And it's the top of the bed, or is beautiful in draperies. So these are some of these other things. Again, if you're working with a designer, we can change the colors, we can change the designs, keeping the same construction. So those are some of those in here. Go ahead, what's next? Do you got?
And then another example of a bag that you will be getting, it will be the multi-purpose, no texture. So for example, you will get, like we were saying, you might be getting different types of fabrics, but you will still be getting the same idea. So like over here, you will get like a little bit of different colors that will assimilate texture, but not really texture, for example.
And this is one of the most popular because it doesn't have much of a design, but textures and is very good for draperies or box spring covers.
And it has a really good price point as well. So just a really simple sateen look for that one in different colors as well over here. Again, very simple ones, but they're all very necessary for different areas of the bed or even drapery, for instance.
Yeah, they're all taffetas, so you see the 2 different colors are reflecting. So these are taffetas, and this is just the texture. So most important thing is, once you make that presentation, make sure you put all that bag into the same bag. I have traveled to many salespeople, and by the time you make 3 presentations, or bag is messed up and you don't know which one goes what. And so that's very important to make sure everything goes back into here. Same here. Here we go. Okay, so we put that there. Okay, these are what Donald actually showed a little bit, and that's just a wow factor. You lay it out and people say, okay, that is great. So any of those, again, it's multi-purpose. You can use draperies, bed skirt, cornices, or even bedding. So that will be good. And also one factor that's important is because we are from the beginning to the fabric into installation, our design is all done, the finished product in mind. How it's going to drape, it's made into drapery, how it is going to be on the top of the bed, and that is the biggest advantage that you would have as a designer working with us, because we maximize the fabric, and so the pricing will be totally in line and giving you the best value that we can ever have. So these are some of the other examples that Christine has put together, is your shears, your totally blackout. If you can see as an example, this is totally blackout. And so now it's soft, and it's not like a stiff vinyl that a lot of other things available in the market. So here's just the little textures and all these different type of colors. This is exactly what I was talking about. This is a vertical stripe in a sense. And the way we designed it, that all your pleats will come out here in the design. So I have seen in many hotels that have no rhyme or reason how they went into the stripes. So it is very important for designers to be aware of that.
So our next bag will be the drapery sheer and blackout.
So first of all, when the draperies, we need to address the hardware. There's many things in your books and in your sites that you'll see, but this is one of the proprietary duo track that we have introduced a long time ago. It's a totally accurate measurement, so no installer can make a mistake. And it'll be totally very nice and clean. And so you got shear and the blackout into one rod. You are paying this much more aluminum because we are connected together, but that will be offset by because your installation is going to be less because you're just installing two at the time of one. So there's a lot of great things that is done, and it's great when you look up as a designer. It's better to have a very clean, as well as when in renovation, there's a lot of holes you have to patch. And then, you know, by the time you do, you have to paint the entire ceiling. So you can eliminate all that by just hiding all those holes with this dual track. So there's many different benefits that if you like to do that, and some brands we are actually having as a standard.
And we have the benefits listed over here as well. So if you don't remember, you can also go look in your little sticker.
So here, go ahead and hold that. Here is your ripple fold drapery. So you can see it's made. This is already blackout fabric, which is laminated and which is the same. And we have a lot of those different things when you need. Even if you may not have in the back, please let us know, then we can totally furnish it. This is done with the buttonholes, the buttons, the two actually snaps. So it's installing, let's show it the other way, and it's under the track. The only handicap this is, because it's under the track, you have lights going to come in through. If it is guest room application, that's why you would need either a fascia, cornice, or valance to make those light to go away. So in most of the new construction, they actually built in fascia, and this brings at how much rooms do you need to let them know. Ideal situation is 12 inches if you're having a two treatment, but you know you could do as less as 10 inches, but 12 inches. But when there is less spaces, then we have to create a less fullness to make sure the stacking room is going to be smaller. So one of the other things that ripple fold has advantage than French pleated is when you open it, the stacking room is going to be only 22%. Versus French pleat is going to be 35%. So if you have a bay window, it is a huge window, you want to make the opening to be as much as you can, then you would like to have ripple fold. And so I'm sure, however, still 80–90% of the hotel rooms are still have French pleated draperies. That's still most popular. But a lot of designers for 4- or 5-star hotels start really designating as a ripple fold. So this is a French pleat, and once you open it, it's going to take 35% of the rooms. So keep that in mind. If there's a wall, no problem. But if you have a huge window, this is going to hide that. So here is what it's going to be, is installed on top of the track. So now this is with the pins. And so pins going up, and sometimes we can adjust the pins a little bit if the height is not exactly right. Versus on those ripple fold, you cannot adjust it because this is all snapped into the here, right there. So, but here, what we want to talk about, what is different in Koni hospitality drapery compared to most of others. Number one, with the total light seal, when it comes two together, that matching as a pair. So as a baton comes here, sometimes if you don't have a baton, you don't even know it's a pair because it is all continuously flow. So that's a total light seal. And on the here is what we call is a return. That is going back into the wall. So if you imagine this is the window, this is a center that opens here, and this actually go back to the wall. So back to the wall in the return, we put a Velcro. So our installers will put this into the wall, and then you would have total light seal in here. In a long drapery, we put at least 3 of them, in the bottom, in the middle, and the top. So that's a very important factor that you like to see. And so whenever you have a chance, when we actually do the model room, go through with a customer, they will be totally convinced. And so once they start using our quality draperies, I know that they're not going to go anywhere. So that is just something you like to do. Here's something else I'd like to point out. We are giving you 2 different draperies here. One, use the exactly same fabric. You can see the difference. So the reason is because this is what we have with a 2-pass blackout. When you say that blackout lining, there's 2-pass mean that one side is gray, one side can be white or ecru, any other color that you choose to. However, when there's a fabric is heavy, you always specify 2-pass because it doesn't show. It's in between those. But when you're having a light fabric like what you see, it doesn't work. It just have all these different things. So here you could see there's 3-pass. It's white and white. That costs you a little more money, but we catch that a lot of times when it is come back with a COM fabric, especially we coat it with 2-pass blackout. But when the week comes and he said, oops, this isn't going to work. And so we have to bring everybody's attention and re-quote it and so forth, so on and on. And so I just want you to be aware of that. Inside the same bag, you would have some of a few different shears. And this was made with a ripple fold with a shear. And it's the same thing, just like you see, full fold. And the things to that. And there's a few other type of shears. Again, when there's any project, that let us know what type of fabrics they are using, and then Christine and the team will send you what fits that descriptions, what designer is wanting to do.
So our next bag will be a multi-purpose texture. This one's, again, you will have different fabrics per person, and we will continue feeding you with new fabrics. But I'm just gonna go over a little bit with the different types. So like this one, a lot of people like it because it's very contemporary. It comes in a lot of colors, and again we can recolor it according to whatever the needs in the project is. And then like another one very popular is this one. It has like a little bit more texture, has some patterns, and then it's reversible. So it's great for like bed scarves, for example, or you can use it for pillows, and you can use it on the front or you can use it in the back, and it has like a different look. And then you will have like your very bold fabrics that it's 100% polyester as well, but it looks like and it feels like cotton. So they're great. They're divided by color scheme, so one ensemble will have like similar color scheme. So if your designer really likes one of the fabrics here, you can suggest like the next one. It might look good with the other part of your bed, so like the pillow and the bed scarf and so on. So that way you're helping them a little bit with their project.
So the purpose of all the fabric that we are developing, we really are doing the imitation of a natural fibers. So either it's a cotton, silk, or wool, or linen. So, and you cannot really tell the differences right now, because the technology in textile has developed as much as any other technology, and now we can create a beautiful fabric that really nobody knows whether it's a silk or a real polyester. And as you know, the best fabric for hospitality industry is 100% polyester. That it doesn't shrink, it doesn't fade, and it stays exactly the same. And matter of fact, some of the project we have done 8, 9, 10 years ago, that some customer came to me on one of the shows and says, you know, customer checked in and went into the room and came down and says, hey, you just renovated. We renovated 8 years ago. So, you know, it is good or bad, but it lasts a long time. And then last trip when we went to Washington, D.C., I stayed in one of the Westin hotels. That was done 12 years ago. And that duvet still looks beautiful. And so some of the things that you'll see that our fabric will stay the way it is for a long time. It doesn't fade, and you can wash it. You can do most of everything in there, and all the stains will come out, and so forth, on and on. So with that in mind, that before Christine goes through some of the logistics, how you can actually order the samples and so forth, that in the presentation, mostly, you really have to read the customer. If you're making a luncheon presentation, and then I would really sort it out. Here's a drapery material. Here is everything that is got to do with a bedding. And then if there's a linen that mixed together, and then multi-purpose fabric. So all that is going to be easier to digest than saying that we do everything. So basically, we do everything that is made out of fabric that is in the guest rooms. So your purpose is that our development and our passion, that is when guest checks in, late at night especially, and tired, when they open that guest room, first impression has to be, wow, that's beautiful. And then second impression you have to do, really make it, especially in the bed, then when they go inside of that bed, that we feel like, ah, and that's what the brand is about. So we can create that, and then we cannot be successful without you. And then our success only comes through your success, which we are going to help you any way we can to go through all the things you are going through, and then we are going to be working together successfully. Okay, so Christine, go through some of the process, how we are going to when they want the samples requests, and then custom artwork, and what kind of a lead time that you can give them, and so forth.
Okay. So for when you're doing your presentations, you're gonna see people interested in certain fabrics. So you're gonna get a list with a list of every single fabrics that you have, and it's gonna be divided by the different, probably just alphabetically, so it's easier for you to get in. Find it. So you're gonna check it off, the fabric that they like, and then you're gonna write the name of the company of the designer or the hotel company that you're at, the name of the person, and then maybe later you can fill out the rest of the information, which will be the address, the telephone number, all those things. So after you have your checklist filled out, you're gonna email it to Ramses or Rosita, depending who's going to be your project manager, and then they're going to let you know that we have received it, and we will advise when will that be shipped. So usually as soon as we receive it, it takes like about a day or two to process it, and then we do a regular 2-day shipping. So we will let you know as soon as it ships, and we'll let you know the tracking number. If by any chance the fabrics are not available at the moment that they're received, or there's a long lead time or something, we will let you know, and we will advise what will be that lead time. But usually it's pretty fast.
Well, that's what we're talking about, the samples you have in your bag. So when you start changing colors or changing customs, that is totally different category. So let's go through that a little bit.
Correct. So if the customer is interested in a certain fabric, or they have another fabric from another vendor, or a fabric they just found a picture or something, that's something that we call a development. So there's a sample request form and design form that needs to be filled out. We can help you, we can guide you through that, and it's pretty much just describing the fabric that we're based it on, or the picture, and selecting the colors. The most important information to get is the project name, the size of the project, the lead time. That's very important for you to get from your customer, and you can send that to your project manager again, and we will advise if we need any more information. If another thing is, like, if it's a fabric from another vendor, try to get a sample, try to get a picture, so we can try to get like the closest match as we can, if that's the case.
Some of the things that you will find also, sometimes that they actually specify the fabric that is not suited for hospitality, either silk or cotton or rayon or something like that. And in addition to that, it's very expensive. And we give you an example there, our huge project that we have done in Hawaii. They specified the fabric that was like a $72 a yard, and we came down into $12 a yard. Exactly same fabric. So there are some things that that our price can be really competitive, or actually lower, because we are direct mill. There is no middle people go through, and no jobbers, no distributors, and go through that. And so that's why one of the reasons why we can afford to send the fabrics that is very affordable. So, and one other thing I think it is important to think on the fabric situation is FR for the anything got to do with the vertical inside the guest rooms. So if you're ordering or asking quotations for bed skirt or drapery, that we already will assume that has to be FR. And on the fabric price list, you will see that whether you can have inherently flame retardant, intrinsically flame retardant, and topically flame retardant. And most of the fabric we use in US is topically treated, but that is all very acceptable, because you don't really wash the draperies. And that comes to how to take care of draperies is also come a lot of times, and then which means that the best way is every quarter they go to the dry vacuum cleaner and try to take it down and wash. It is really not recommended, but if they wash it in like a very soft wool-like type of the detergent, that it could be washed. So that when it comes to it, then we will provide you all the care instructions and everything that we provide, that we will follow up with that. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so that's it pretty much. If you need any design need any design or fabric, contact us. Well, you will contact your project manager, and he will communicate to us. We will advise what will be the lead time for that. We can help you with project boards. We can reinterpret the fabric digitally so you can present it to your customer before we even start the process. So there's a lot of things that we can help you to get you the job.
See, another way is that I know we just did one for Minneapolis, the casino, is that you take a picture of what they have inside their room. And then, if there's anything that you can match colors, that would be basically wonderful. Carpet samples or all drapery samples or whichever, then we can virtually create all the designs that coordinates with what they have. They're not going to replace. So case goods, the finishes and everything, so we can actually help them. And many times the designer also give us just the parameters of what they're thinking of, and then we can create that and then present a few options for that. Okay, so it is a really great pleasure having you, and let's really work together and then see what we can create. Thank you so much for having Koni Hospitality in your bag.